Board of Trustees meeting for July 28th, 2026 is called to order at 5:38 p.m. Please let the record reflect that we have present today our Trustee Kirfan, Trustee Nandeep Singh, Vice President Sellers, and myself. With that, what are the wish? Before we move to approval of the agenda, we are tabling under information items. Item number 1, receive information regarding update from Caldwell Flores Winters, Inc. relating to hardship funding and scope and sequence of facility projects to a future board meeting. With that, may I have a motion to approve the amended agenda? Thank you. I received a motion by Vice President Sellers, a second by Trustee Singh. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 4-0. With 3 absent. Comments from the public at this time. We will take any comments on any of the closed session items. We've allowed a maximum of 10 minutes to take any comments related to the closed session items. Is there any member of the public wishing to address the board on any of the closed session items?
We have no comments at this time.
Hearing no comments, we will adjourn to closed session and return at the conclusion of closed session, hopefully by 7 p.m. Thank you.
Hello.
I'm good. Test, test. Kayla, can you hear me? Test, test. Just unmuted it. I mean, just muted you.
Test 1, 2. Test, test.
We can hear you.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
We can hear you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Kayla, we can hear you.
9, 10, 11, 12. I can kind of hear something.
Can you hear me now? So that's. You can hear me when I mute it?
So you're muted here, right?
Mm-hmm. And then I have all my volume down. Now we do. Yeah. Test, test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test, test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test, test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was when I was muted. So if I unmute myself, you can hear me, but then that's the. Okay. I don't know why I can't get rid of this stupid crap. So when I think it's going away, it starts up again.
You know, I don't have the bag, but I have loose ones in my backpack at all times.
I went to the store and I bought the whole bag, so I just threw it in my purse.
Oh. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test.
Test. Nothing.
You what?
I am.
Ah,
That one.
okay.
Yeah, it's not taking, or it doesn't seem to take as long to post.
That's good.
Yeah, because once I add it to the gallery, I don't have to type everything again.
Yeah, it's already.
It's already done, so it just posts it.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know how it'll work when, because right now, I started to put, because I started to put the date that they were adopted, so that I'm not putting an old one to replace me, because I'm working back
Mm.
this way.
Mm.
I'm working this way.
Mm.
This last board meeting.
Backward.
Because otherwise, I'm just.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Otherwise, I'm just doing old ones and then having to change them. So this way I can see when they were done. I don't know how that'll work when I go to revise again. So I'm gonna put a new date. It won't override the other one,
It shouldn't.
so
And
I would have to delete it.
you could replace it.
I could replace it?
Yes. Perfect.
even with a different.
open session after concluding its closed session at 7:03 p.m. Items to report from closed session. We had Trustee Kirk join us at 5:44 p.m. Thank you. We had Trustee Harman Singh join us at 5:55 p.m. and we had Trustee Sidhu join us at 7 p.m. Additional closed session items to report. The certificated personnel report was approved by a motion made by Trustee Kirfan, a second by Trustee Nandeep Singh. We had 4 yes votes. Vice President Sellers abstained, and we had Trustee Sidhu and Trustee Harman Singh absent. We had the classified personnel report, which was approved, a motion made by Trustee Kirk, a second made by Trustee Nandeep Singh, 5-0. We had Trustee Sidhu and Trustee Harman Singh absent. The board took action to deny claim number GHC 0098542. I made a motion. A second was made by Vice President Sellers. The motion carried 6-1 with Trustee Sidhu absent. The board also took action to deny claim number GHC 0098543. I also made a motion. A second was made by Vice President Sellers. Motion carried 6-0 with Trustee Sidhu absent. With that, we will move on to our Pledge of Allegiance. If I can have our Vice President please lead us. Thank you. Next, we will hear from our interpreters on community engagement.
Good evening, everyone. If you wish to address the board, call 559-276-3150 or fill out a request form provided on the table near the entrance and submit it to the clerk of the board prior to the meeting. If you wish to speak on an item on the agenda, please do so when the item is called. If you wish to speak on an item not on the agenda, you may speak during the public comments section of the agenda. Si desea dirigirse a la mesa directiva, llame al número 559-276-3150 o complete un formulario de solicitud provisto en la mesa cerca de la entrada y preséntelo al secretario de la mesa directiva antes de la reunión. Se permitirán comentarios públicos relacionados con los temas de la agenda cuando se llame al tema. Los comentarios públicos sobre un tema que no está en la agenda se permitirán durante la sesión de comentarios públicos de la agenda. The district welcomes other language speakers to the board meetings. Anyone planning to attend and needing an interpreter for a language other than Spanish should call 559-274-4700 extension 10150 by noon on the Friday preceding to the board meeting, or at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting, so arrangements can be made for an interpreter. El distrito da la bienvenida a las personas que hablan otros idiomas a las reuniones de la mesa directiva. Cualquier persona que planifique asistir y necesita un intérprete para un idioma que no sea español, llame al 559-274-4700, extensión 10150, el viernes antes de la reunión y antes del mediodía, o por lo menos 48 horas antes de la reunión, para poder hacer los arreglos para la interpretación.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ। ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੋਰਡ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਬੋਧਿਤ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ 559-276-3150 ਤੇ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਜਾਂ ਐਂਟਰੀ ਦਰਵਾਜ਼ੇ ਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਟੇਬਲ ਤੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਗਏ ਇੱਕ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਫਾਰਮ ਨੂੰ ਭਰੋ ਅਤੇ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਬੋਰਡ ਦੇ ਕਲਰਕ ਕੋਲ ਜਮ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਰੋ। ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਏਜੰਡੇ ਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ ਤੇ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਏਜੰਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਸ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ ਦੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਏਜੰਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ ਤੇ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਏਜੰਡੇ ਦੇ ਜਨਤਕ ਟਿੱਪਣੀ ਸੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੌਰਾਨ ਅਜਿਹਾ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਸਾਡਾ ਜ਼ਿਲ੍ਹਾ ਬੋਰਡ ਦੀਆਂ ਮੀਟਿੰਗਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਰ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਬੋਲਣ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜੇਕਰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੋਣ ਦੀ ਯੋਜਨਾ ਬਣਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਸਪੈਨਿਸ਼ ਜਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਲਈ ਟਰਾਂਸਲੇਟਰ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਬੋਰਡ ਦੀ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸ਼ੁੱਕਰਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਪਹਿਰ ਤੱਕ ਜਾਂ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਘੱਟੋ ਘੱਟ 48 ਘੰਟੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ 559 274 4700 ਐਕਸਟੈਂਸ਼ਨ 10 150 'ਤੇ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੋ ਤਾਂ ਜੋ ਇੱਕ ਟਰਾਂਸਲੇਟਰ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਧੰਨਵਾਦ।
Thank you to our interpreters, translators. We move on to presentations. We first invite the CUDA president for Central Unified Teachers Association or their representative. Seeing none. We move on to invite the president of California School Employees Association, Ms. Aguirre, or representative. Perfect. We move on to Superintendent Board Communications. We first will hear from Dr. Marshall on his superintendent report.
Got you. Thank you. All right, I first want to start with our summer has gone, summer's gone, come and gone, and we had our session where lots of students participated. I think we had some of the highest numbers ever, and it went very well. We also had a summer graduation for many of our students. It was nice to see everyone come out to celebrate the students that graduated this summer. And I also want to give a special commendations to Dr. Javon Childs. As you all are aware, he left us this month. But I always tell people that, basically, when people come in, they come in and they can make an impact. And I look at where we started to where, like where we were a year ago compared to now. And he really definitely made a positive impact on our organization. So I wanted to highlight that. Some accolades. We have the Central East boys volleyball team. They're going to be recognized on Thursday at City Hall for their Division II section championship win and for claiming the Division III second in-state win. Then we also have a student, Scarlett Vang. She's a member of our Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, and she's regional chair, and she scored first place in the nation for our Creed speaking competition. That's our first ever first place winner. Some staff accomplishments, you can see Ricky Woods, as I talked about previously. He competed in the National Bus Drivers Rodeo contest, and he placed 14th in the nation, or internationally, sorry. And then we had our foundation director and our communication specialists. They went to the National School Public Relations Association conference in New Orleans and presented there, and they received 2 awards. Looking ahead to this year, this coming school year, today we started our Administrative Institute. We had our Teacher Professional Development Days. There were 2 days. That's coming up on August 6th and 7th. It went well today. And then lastly, I want to highlight some of the great work that's happening with our facilities. As far as what you're looking at, I have several pictures to show you tonight. You can see that's the new computer science elective at Rio Vista. That's a picture of the lab. You look at the new pathway. As you're aware, we separated we separated 2 campuses. So now Pathway has its own entity. That's at the old WAC building, so you kind of get a glimpse of that. You have you see it at Central High School. That used to be an old tennis court. You can kind of see where you have the barriers where it's marked off. You can see that's an area, like a lunchtime area for students. That looks fantastic. And then finally, you can look at the work at Houghton Kearney as far as the new parking lot. So there were a lot of things that happened this summer that took place, right? And lastly, I wanted to recognize we have tonight 2 students that went on to compete in a national competition. They came with their families, and I'd like for them to basically be introduced and to come up and shake hands with the board and take a picture. All right, we have from Glacier Point, we have Kamani Davis. And she's a rising 8th grader. And then we have Swan, that's correct? Yeah, Swan Lawrence. She's a rising ninth grader at Justin Garza. So we'd like for them to come up and shake hands. We'll take a picture. Mrs. Lawrence? Mrs. Lawrence, could you come up and briefly talk about what the event, so I can make sure we give them, the board, the information, what the run was?
Okay, just hold it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. They competed in Nike Outdoor National, and just to kind of give you an idea of the caliber of the event, you had Tate Taylor competing there, who's like the #1 200-meter runner in the nation, and so it was highly competitive. It's very exclusive, and they were invited as 7th graders. Kamani Davis PR'd in the season, and she ran a 12.7 in order to get there in the 100 meters, which, if you're familiar with track, that's phenomenal even for like a 9th or 10th grader. And then you had Swan Lawrence, who ran a 12.05, which broke, whose record was it? Jenna Prandini, who is a current Olympian from Clovis, she previously held that record in the Valley, and so Swan broke that record. And when she went to Nike Outdoor Nationals, she came in 7th overall in the nation. So, yeah, that was it.
And that speaks to the caliber of students that we have in Central Unified. So I really wanted to highlight that. Thank you.
Congratulations to you both. Okay. Next, we invite to hear from the chair to the Jurisdiction Agency Subcommittee. That's the board.
Thank you, President Carrillo. So, with regards to the subcommittee, covers finance, safety, and also our facilities.
So we're hearing first from Jurisdiction Agency.
Oh, jurisdiction, my apologies. Yeah, it's been a while since we had a board meeting. Jurisdiction, nothing much to report there. I'll wait for the other committee.
Okay. Now you can report on Finance, Facility, and Safety Subcommittee.
All right, thank you. So we're still working with the third parties to review the well, making sure that the Central High School has accessible and clean drinking water for everyone. There's nothing wrong with our facilities. Once that gets approved, hopefully by the start of the school year. And then we got an update on our finance report, hopefully to streamline the budget process for the next school year to make it more accessible for the public. And then also just getting an update regarding other infrastructure projects happening in the city of Fresno near our schools, including on McKinley and Blythe near El Capitan. Hopefully we'll be working with the city of Fresno to better increase the accessibility for that project to better serve students and safe walkways to school.
Before I invite board members to provide any report related to any district-related business they've been engaging, we do want to just recognize a couple of appointments that we made during our closed session approval of the certificated and classified personnel report. So Dr. Marshall?
Thank you, ma'am. We have 3 appointments. First, we have Ms. Rosa Romero. Please stand. She's our Director of Human Resources. Classified. Okay, you want to come? You have something prepared? Come up, please.
Make sure that the green light is on if you just press the push button.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm short. Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Carrillo, and Superintendent Dr. Marshall. My name is Rosa Romero, and I'm truly honored to have been selected as the next Director of Human Resources, classified for Central Unified School District. As I enter my 15th year with the district, I reflect with gratitude on the many opportunities that I've had to serve in various roles here, including I started off as an HR coordinator, moved up to an HR specialist, and most recently, the last 3 years, as the HR manager. These experiences have provided me with valuable knowledge, expertise, and a deep understanding of our organization, all of which I will bring to this new role. I am committed to continuing to serve the Central Unified family, our community, our staff, and our students with integrity, dedication, and professionalism. I am sincerely grateful for the trust and confidence you have placed in me, and I will work diligently to uphold that trust as a dedicated public servant to the district. Thank you.
Next, we have Leanne Cervantes. She's our new CTE Assistant Director. Welcome.
I'm going to lift this a little bit. Good evening, everyone. President Carrillo, Dr. Marshall, thank you so much for the opportunity. I am beyond excited to serve as your Assistant Director of Career Technical Education. I've spent 5 years serving in another capacity in CTE, and I am wildly passionate about the opportunities that career technical education can provide for our students. As I get to know the Central Unified family, I could not find a better home. Thank you so much for investing in career technical education. Thank you to the amazing team who brought me on, and I look forward to serving our families and community. Thank you.
And while we are excited to welcome all of the new appointments, we're particularly excited about this position because I know our students are in need, so congratulations.
Mrs. Cervantes brought her parents, too, who are proudly looking on and may want to be. With flowers.
And lastly, I don't see her here this evening. I wanted to introduce Melissa Fairchild. She's our principal at Class in Central Online Homeschool.
Congratulations to you both, and we look forward to seeing you at more board meetings and hearing great reports of the great work you're doing. So thank you and welcome. At this time, we will now take comments from the public, so any member wishing to address the board on any item that is not currently agendized on the agenda, now is the time to provide any public comment. Just kidding. We have board reports. Apparently, some board members would like to provide a report. At this time, I will go back to Superintendent Board Communications. Is there any board member wishing to provide a report? Trustee Kerfan.
Thank you. This past couple weeks, I had the pleasure along with Trustee Kirk, of attending the summer graduation for the last of the class of 2026. Just want to say congratulations to all of our students that graduated.
Yes, thank you both for being able to attend. I know many of us were unavailable, so I'm glad we were able to have board representation. Anyone else? Okay. Now we will move on to comments from the public. Is there any member of the public wishing to address the board on any item not currently on the agenda? There are note cards on the back you can complete, or you may just step forward and use the podium. So long as we have less than 10 speakers, you will have up to 3 minutes to address the board. We will take any comments from anyone in person first, and then we will take any comments telephonically. Is there any member of the public wishing to address the board at this time?
President Korea, I have no cards at this time.
Okay.
We have no calls at this time.
Okay. I don't see anyone jumping up, so I will move on to the next item. We move on to the consent agenda. Items to highlight, we are adopting resolution number 2627-01, proclaiming August as the National Immunization Awareness Month. And that is all. What are the wishes of the board on the consent agenda?
I'd like to pull items number 4 and 9 for discussion.
4 and 9, okay. What are the wishes of the board on the consent agenda items 1 through 3, 5 through 8, and 10 through 16?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Vice President Sellers. Do I have a second? I have a second by Trustee Kirk. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. We now return to item number 4, approve video management system for high schools. Trustee Kerfan.
Thank you, President Creel. So I just have a few questions in the name of transparency. The data recorded on these Verkada cameras, are they stored on servers owned by the district or by the vendor?
Good evening, board members. The data is ours. It is stored in the cloud, but it's only accessed by us.
Okay. And how long is the data stored again?
I believe it's 30 days.
30 days. And how or is the data shared with local or federal law enforcement?
Local is when they ask, and that process is through our HR department. Federal, we haven't had that situation come up, but it's not something, it would follow the same process of going through our HR department.
And would require a subpoena then, right?
Yeah, I mean, typically with the local, it's a police report, and they're reaching out to our HR department regarding that.
Okay. And there's no way a federal law enforcement agency could bypass the district to access this data?
Nothing that we're aware of.
Okay. No further questions, and thank you. I will motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the video management system for high schools. Is there a second? I have a second by Vice President Sellers. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. We move on to item number 9, approve education behavior consultants contract. Trustee Kerfan.
Thank you. So when reviewing this contract, I see that we would be paying a supervisor with a BCBA certification $140 an hour. Would it not be cheaper to hire someone with that experience as a full-time employee?
This BCBA comes with the EBC contract as part of their own staff, working with the support staff that they have under them. So they wouldn't be contracted with us. They'd be they're working with that EBC team, with the registered behavior technician, who's overseen by the BCBA, and the company is owned by 2 doctors of behavior. So it's an outside agency. I think that eventually it would be the place for us to go, but I don't think at this moment we're in the position with this kind of a behavior class to start with a brand new BCBA with the district. We don't have the staff underneath the BCBA to be able to support it.
Right. I imagine it would also be pretty difficult to find someone when you can be a consultant and make that much money. Right. I just worry that there is a need for these services. I'm not debating that. I just worry that this contract is part of a pattern of reducing staff and then hiring outside consultants to do the same work. How is the work of these consultants, how is it different than what could be done in-house?
So the students that are in this program are students that we would be looking to go to a non-public school, or that aren't able to get to a non-public school because the behaviors and their cognitive abilities are so low that these NPSs won't take them. So therefore, they come back to the district. The county won't take them, the non-public schools won't take them, and we need to find a way to provide them with FAPE. And so the only way to do that is have a very small class with very structured people and well-trained people to be able to support them. The idea would be to be able to fade them out with time, but at this point, we're not there to be able to fade that out. We need to build the capacity of the para-educators and then look at seeing if we want our own BCBA to be able to do that.
And I know you and your department have a lot of great staff, very talented people that hopefully one day we can, expand our team to be able to meet those without having to go to outside consultants. With that, if there's other questions,
Actually,
I
yeah,
will.
I just want to provide a couple of comments because I think it's important to clarify that we're not reducing staff as a result of this contract. We don't currently employ anyone that would be able to provide these services. I think it's also important to highlight that the needs for these services fluctuates. It is very driven by the needs of the students, and so depending on how long they're with the district, will fluctuate the need. So if we permanently employ someone for the position, and we've talked about our budget and what that looks like, it will result in eventually having to lay off someone else at some other position if it's not that particular position. So I just want to highlight that. I think what we've made very clear to administration is that moving forward, if there is a need for us to have these programs in-house, we absolutely want to make sure that we are hiring our own people, that we have permanent employees. But I think at this point, and as has been shared, we're exploring what that looks like. And again, we don't have anyone in-house at this time that would be able to provide those services.
Correct. At this time. I'll motion to approve then.
Thank you. I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposition? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. We move on to our action items. Our first item is to hold a public hearing and approve the quarterly Williams Uniform Complaint Procedure. So at this time, I will open a public hearing. Is there any member of the public wishing to address the board during this public hearing?
No comments at this time.
Okay. Hearing no comments, the public hearing is now closed. I believe this item is returning from the last meeting, right? Yes, okay. Are there any questions on the quarterly Williams Uniform Complaint Procedure or report? What are the wishes of the board on approval of the quarterly Williams Uniform Complaint Procedure report?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Vice President Sellers. I have a second by Nandeep Singh. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we move on to ratify employment contract for the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and Labor Relations. So we have a delayed report out on June 23rd, 2026. The board took action in closed session to approve appointing Tammy Calzadillas. Did I say that correctly? Okay. As our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. That motion carried unanimously, and she began her employment on July 17, 2026. Now before us, we have approval of her employment contract. Any member of the public wishing to review the contract, we have copies for them to review, and I'm passing it around to the board. The contract provides a base salary of $223,878 with 61 cents. It provides a monthly car allowance of $400. It provides health and welfare benefits provided on the same basis as is provided to other district management staff, and those are the only financial terms to report. I will give the board a couple minutes to review if they have any questions or comments. So in addition to the terms identified, there is also a doctoral stipend that's provided that is, I believe, $2,800. Okay. If there are no comments from the public, any discussion by the board? What are the wishes of the board?
A motion to approve the ratification of the contract.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion by trustee Kirk. I have a second by trustee Harmon Singh. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. That's right, we didn't invite you before. So if you'd like to address the board and the community, please.
President Carrillo and Board of Trustees, it's an honor to serve as the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and Labor Relations for Central Unified School District. I bring to you over 30 years of service in public education and have held many different positions during my tenure. I started as a substitute teacher, was a site principal, held several different positions at the district office level before landing in human resources over 10 years ago. I definitely found my calling. I bring to you the staff and the educational community my experiences and the knowledge I have gained from those experiences. I look forward to learning from each of you and continuing to grow in my role as Assistant Superintendent of HR. Most importantly, I am humbled and honored that you have selected me to serve the students of this fine district. Thank you.
Well, like we've done with everyone else, you're welcome to come up and shake our hands or fist bump if you'd like, or high five. And welcome to our district. Welcome. Okay, we move to on to item number 3, approve nominations for the Fresno Committee on School District Organization. Dr. Marshall.
Right, I brought this previously. We have nominations for the Fresno Committee on School District Organization. As I stated previously, there was a different member of the trustees that was on that group, but his term, since he's not on the board anymore, the seat is vacant.
And if I remember correctly, we were all fighting to serve on this committee. So who wants to serve? Anyone?
May I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
What is the length of the term?
The rest
Expires
of
at
your
the end of, no, ma'am. Is it through the end of this year?
27. Sometime 27, I think.
Actually, it says it expires in 2026. Ms. Lopez, do you know?
Trustee Cervantes' term actually expires this year. The new term starts for the new candidates, and so it would, if I remember correctly, it's a 2-year obligation. I should also mention that this particular group, if you're lucky, you will meet once a year.
I'll provide some additional context. Because this is not the county committee for trustees, this is the Committee on School District Organization. If there is a school district anywhere in Fresno County that needs to unify or break apart or change its boundaries to where it expands or contracts with another district, this committee is the one that approves or denies that. Most recently, it was the committee that decided the dispute between Sierra Unified and Clovis Unified. While I have no interest in serving on this committee, just because of the time commitment I have currently, I will say that trustees Babshoff and Schlafer do excellent work, and they do have the time to continue in these roles. So it's just a matter of finding someone in Supervisor D1.
Vice President Sellers?
I would like to nominate Trustee Kirk.
I'll second the nomination and hope that she accepts. Trustee Kirk, do you accept the nomination?
I wanted to see if anyone else wanted to jump in. Yes, I will serve.
Okay, thank you. Any other nominations? Okay. So we have a nomination for Trustee Kirk made by Vice President Sellers. I've seconded that nomination. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Trustee, one other note, Trustee Kirk, you will need to fill out an application, so I will forward that paperwork over to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, item number 4, approve agriculture incentive grant. Assistant Superintendent McLennan.
Either way is fine. This is an annual grant received by our ag program. So this particular one is to accept the funding for Pershing Pathway. It supplements our ag programs, and we will be bringing another one back because we got the notification for Central High School as well. So that'll come to the next meeting.
Thank you. I will assume that our clerk and staff will notify me if we have any comments from the public. Any questions from the board?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion by Vice President Sellers, and I have a second by Vice President Kirk. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. We move on to item number 5, approve annual submission of the Carl D. Perkins Career and Vocational Grant. Area Administrator Fowler, for the last time, right?
Yes, I gladly will pass this on. Yeah. So good evening, Board President Carrillo, Superintendent Dr. Marshall, and members of the board. Tonight, administration is seeking approval for the annual submission of the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education Grant. Central Unified's 2627 Perkins application was submitted and approved in the amount of $224,249, which is an increase of $25,000 over our award amount for the 24-25 school year. Administration is recommending approval of this item.
Any questions or comments from the board? What are the wishes of the board? Thank you. I have a motion by Trustee Kirk.
Second. Oh.
I heard 2 voices and could not distinguish between. Okay. I have a second by Trustee Kerfan. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And of course, we want to see you again, but it'll just be nice to... We will move on to item number 6, approve ACTS Foundation Personal Responsibility Education Program Memorandum of Understanding.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Board President Carrillo, and Superintendent Dr. Marshall. The ACTS Foundation provides direct supports and coordinated services for our families and students. We currently partner with them to provide these services. We are seeking to create this Memorandum of Understanding to cover additional support services for our students. And some of these include healthy relationships, healthy life skills, and adolescent development. The ACTS Foundation is here as well tonight to answer any questions. However, there is no cost associated to this Memorandum of Understanding. It is simply an MOU between our partners and ourselves.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Is this the one that we get reimbursed for the services provided? We don't. Okay.
So FCHIP, that's a different one.
Okay. So then what is, other than, is there a cost at all associated?
No, we refer students for these additional services that we don't provide in our district. They're outside entity. They currently support our families with food security, paying their bills, PG&E utility bills. So they already provide services to our district, our families. And this would be just an additional grant that they're seeking to provide these additional modules for our students.
Okay, awesome. Vice President Sellers?
Is there a term for this MOU?
I do have the ACTS Foundation, our director, Ms. Macy Young, if they want to come to the podium to answer some of these questions.
The contract identifies a termination date of June 30th, 2027.
Okay.
It's for one academic.
Is that the same?
It is for 1 year. It would be an annual renewal, depending on how our progress is, and going from there. So it is for 1 year.
And my understanding is that we're going to evaluate how it turns out this year and see if we want to continue with another MOU.
Okay.
And to reiterate, there is no cost to the district. We hire our own staff, fully background checked. We comply with FERPA and HIPAA, and completely no cost to the district at all. So.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? I'll move to approve. Do I have a second?
So moved.
I have a second by Vice President Sellers. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? You're opposing it? Oh, I assumed. I will accept your silence as approval. Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries 6-0 with Trustee Kirk absent. We move on to item number 7, approve the award to Lanote Refrigeration, Inc. for the Central East High School walk-in cooler and freezer replacement project.
Thank you, Board President, Trustees, and Superintendent Dr. Marshall. Returning tonight is an item for our food service kitchen at Central East High School. To recap, the existing walk-in cooler freezer units are now approximately 15 years old and have reached the end of their typical commercial service life. The district opened bids on July 15th, 2026, and after review of all submissions, the lowest responsible bidder is Lanati Refrigeration Incorporated with a base bid of $295,000 even. Administration recommends approval of the award to Lanati Refrigeration for Central East High School for the replacement project, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have on this item.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? What are the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion by Vice President Sellers. Is there a second? I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0 with Trustee Kirk and Trustee Kerfon absent. Thank you. We move on to item number 8, approve MOU between Central Unified School District and Central Unified Teachers Association, Chapter 961, regarding Article 4 of the Collective Bargaining Agreement. Dr. Calzadillas.
This is Article 4, subsection 4.8 of the certificated CBA between the parties. Administration is recommending that the board approve the memorandum of understanding between Central Unified School District and Central Unified Teachers Association, Chapter 961.
Can you briefly tell us what the article is about?
Sure. This article is changing the language that allows for the when CUDA meets, and that if there is a holiday and it's a meeting day, that then that will be changed, and that the district will do its best to respect that meeting time and not schedule anything that conflicts with those meeting dates.
Is there any financial impact as a result of this MOU?
There is not.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions from the board? I'll move to approve. Do I have a second? Thank you. I've made a motion. I had a second from Trustee Kirk. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 6-0 with Trustee Kerfon absent. We move on to our final action item for tonight, approve resolution number 2627-04, authorizing the lease and lease purchase of Chromebooks. Director Robles.
Good evening. I have a resolution for you tonight that is going to look kind of familiar. It's reaffirming the previous approval that you gave for our Chromebook refresh project, specifically citing CDW and our piggyback agreement and Insight Financial Services to finance our lease.
So we're leasing this equipment? I don't think I realized that. I thought we were purchasing them.
No, it is a lease. Well, about half of the devices we're leasing because they're staying in school. Then at the end of the end of the term, they can be given back and we'll refresh those. The devices that are going to be leaving campus, we are purchasing those.
I remember this conversation now. Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
Can you remind me how long before we have to do this again? Like, what's the
4 years.
Every 4 years.
4 years is the target.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I have a motion by Vice President Sellers. Is there a second? I have a second by Trustee Kirk. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 6-0 with Trustee Kerfon absent. We move on to our information items. We tabled item number 1 upon the approval of the agenda, so we move on to item number 2, receive information regarding feasibility study Glacier Point track. We have Director Both.
Good evening, Board President Carrillo, board members, and Superintendent Dr. Marshall. Tonight, administration is bringing forward the feasibility study that was done for the Glacier Point track. In this study, we collaborated with the site administration, with district athletics and district administration to get a scope and feasibility for this project. The main goal of this feasibility study was to see if this project was not only financially feasible, but if the site could accommodate a full-size track and field. So we do have Kaya, who provided the feasibility study, along with YC+D Architecture, who did the feasibility study report, and have a short presentation to review with you. So I'll go ahead and invite up Dara with YC+D Architecture, and Justin and Giselle with Kaya.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dara Duragi with YC+D Architecture. Thank you for your time this evening. The feasibility study was for the track and field facility at Glacier Point Middle School, and the scope of work consisted of a dual-use natural turf field for football and soccer, as well as a multi-lane track around the natural turf football and soccer field, along with ancillary athletic facilities and equipment. Here's an overview of the design layout. So as mentioned, the track, it consists of a decomposed granite, a DG track. The oval is 400 meters, and it also includes an 8-lane, 100-meter straightaway. And in the middle, as mentioned, we will have the dual-use natural turf field, which can accommodate soccer and football. And then we've also provided ancillary facilities, which is a little bit beyond what is provided at Rio Vista. We will have the D zone that includes the jumping events. And then to the north of the D zone, we will have a discus and a shot put. And we are also providing 6 5-tier bleachers that can accommodate up to about 540 spectators. We also are providing storage along the edge of the oval, as well as a scoreboard. For some additional information regarding the cost breakdown and project schedule, I will turn this over to my colleague Justin and Giselle.
Good evening, board members. My name is Giselle Quintana with the Kaya Group. I was just going to give you a concise cost breakdown. We do have a detailed cost analysis on page 20 of our feasibility study. So the first option is going to be the DG track to match the Rio Vista footprint. And you can see the price point for that. We also did add some alternates to the track upgrades, like Musco lighting and synthetic track surfacing, which came from school administration, site administration, athletics, and the district.
And then next, we just wanted to kind of talk about durations. So standard for these projects is around 15 weeks for design. That includes approval of all submittals and color selections and things of that nature from the district. That gets us ready to submit to DSA. Within that process, we have about a 9-week approval process to get approved drawings. And then we would move into the construction phase where we begin the bidding process and finish the project within around 27 weeks from start of construction. Now, I will say that within this, Kaya has done multiple projects of this nature over the last couple of years. So we have pulled historical data. This is not just kind of from a whim. This is from projects that we've done over the past few years. And then we've also done quite a few individual components, like a track at one school and a set of bleachers at another and things like that. So we were able to compile all of the data into the schedule and the cost analysis for you.
And then in terms of the project, yes, it has to go through Division of State Architect for review. We don't foresee any major challenges when it comes to DSA review. One good thing that we have is that there's existing infrastructure at the middle school that we'll use for accessibility as well as fire life safety. But we do recommend during the design process to engage DSA early, have pre-application meeting with DSA, and to be able to kind of go over the scope of project with them. And another thing to be aware of is that right now, there is a longer than usual review process going on with DSA due to unprecedented project backlog. So that's another thing that we should be aware of working on this project. Thank you.
So just to summarize again, with the study, we were able to see that the site can accommodate a track and field. It does have enough space. One thing that we also did look at and did verify, that site has existing trees that have been there, has existing plant and landscape. Actually, we'll be able to save all of that existing. We won't have to, none of it will be removed. And when and if this project moves forward, we can engage with the contractor on adding additional pieces to that type of landscaping to make our area more, provide more shade for our community. But that's the presentation, and you guys have the feasibility study. It's an information-only item, and I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Where would the money come from, and do we have the money? Because I believe we requested this feasibility study in response to a few complaints that we received from parents about 2 years ago, maybe 3, and then they came back recently. So I understand there's a need. We also have needs at other campuses for facilities. I'm glad we have the space and there's a timeline and we know what it's going to cost, plus another 10% when we actually build things. But where do we have money?
Well, I think the reason we brought this up is probably the best way is the next bond, or when we get any of the reimbursement from the state. So those are 2 things we're going to look into. Is we couldn't do the presentation this time. Next time when we come, there's going to be some information regarding again, what state going to give us back, and then kind of look into the bond. What's the next bond measure we have in 2030? So that would be the 2 things we can look into. I mean 2028, not 2030. I take it back.
I was going to say, if I remember correctly, I think we're pretty close or exceeded. I don't think we've exceeded, but we're pretty close at our bond capacity.
Right.
Aren't we?
Right.
So it's going to be a while before we can actually support.
But at least if the bond passes, then we still can trickle down a little at a time.
Yeah.
So.
For my colleagues to contemplate.
Okay.
Dr. Marshall?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to point out is that when Caldwell Flores comes back, I guess the plan is they were going to come back and give us a timetable on when we get some of our refunds.
Okay.
I think we're looking at next spring getting an apportionment in 2027. And then they were going to speak to us about hardship, because when you're like at the max, then there may be ways to get facilities funded on the state's dime.
Trustee Kirk?
I see you looking at me to keep an eye on this coming down the road. But as we look at the funding that's coming back from our bonds, we're going to do some type of assessment of what our priorities are, so that we don't just save up for a track while we overlook maybe some other needs that we have throughout the district.
This is just an option. This is just an option. Yeah.
Correct. The purpose of this feasibility study was really to determine, is it even feasible? Do we have the space and capacity to even address this concern? Now that we know that we do, and we would still be able to save some of our green space, we have an estimated cost, which will increase by the time you all are having to make these decisions and the people that will come after us. But I think, and your question is a very important one, and it's one that we've reiterated time and time again to our administration. The priority decisions is for the board to make. And so this is helpful to make sure that we know what that cost looks like, and then making those decisions once we have our facilities plan and we know what money we have, because there are other facilities that are in dire need that would take priority over having a beautiful track for our students, unfortunately. But any other questions from the board? Thank you very much to all of you. This is a great report. It has a lot of great information and detail, so it's really helpful for us as my colleagues have to think about these decisions moving forward.
I just want to let the board know that there's going to be another study coming to the board regarding the Central High School pool feasibility. So that's
Do we
coming.
have an estimated time? I
No,
know
I'll look into that and let you know. I'll return
Awesome.
it back then. Okay.
Thank you all. We appreciate you taking the time to be here. Thank you. So it's just information. There's no further action. And so just keep it close by as we continue to talk about our projects and our needs. We move on to item number 4, receive information regarding the Scholar First Inc. contract. Dr. Marshall.
Number 3.
Just kidding. Number 3, receive information on Wested plan,
Yes.
the Wested 2026-2027 plan.
Yes,
Assistant
so-
Superintendent McLennan.
Thank you. You'll recall that in the winter, we brought in West Ed to do kind of an audit of our staffing and our organization and our systems within our Ed Services program. And so Kelsey Krausen from West Ed is here to present. We are continuing on with them and working on some implementation planning and some additional work with them. And so she'll share some of that.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Carrillo, Superintendent Marshall. I'm Kelsey Krausen, Director of Education, Finance, and Systems Planning at West Ed. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Hopefully some slides will be, there we go. Before I jump in, I just want to acknowledge the work of the Ed Services team and their partnership in this work. Assistant Superintendent McLennan and the rest of the team have put a lot of time and thinking into partnering with us, and that's been really critical to the success of the work so far. So I'm going to give you a quick overview, talk through some prioritized areas of improvement that we've identified, and then talk through some actions that are already underway, next steps, and any questions you might have. So as Assistant Superintendent McLennan mentioned, the purpose of this work was really to assess existing organizational structures and systems within the Ed Services Department, to gather input from district office staff and school leaders on high priority areas, and then to develop some solutions by really co-creating, and I want to emphasize this word, actionable implementation plan. We focused on policies and processes, the availability and use of resources, the distribution of roles and responsibilities across staff in the department, and then collaboration and communication, both within Ed Services and with other departments, and even beyond that to school sites as well. And then the Ed Services team determined that they wanted to focus on 4 additional focus areas that were really critical to their work: data and assessment, MTSS and tiered supports, Tier 1 instruction, and the integration of special education and general ed. We conducted a document review, interviews with district staff and principals who are deeply engaged with this work, and we had numerous meetings with the Ed Services team and input sessions with them and with principals to gather some additional input on how to move the work forward. We also conducted a peer district comparison. Okay, so there were numerous findings from our systems review, and I'm going to focus on just those that the Ed Services team determined that they wanted to make as their prioritized areas to focus on. And you'll see on the next slide when I go through them, there's a little asterisk where these areas were also selected by principals as a really important area of focus in the year and years ahead. So these are some key findings from the study. When it came to policies and processes, there's a need for Ed Services to set and support clear expectations for sites. The number of internal meetings and work groups can be counterproductive and reduce time spent on site. When it came to roles and responsibilities, Ed Services staff frequently absorb responsibilities beyond their job descriptions due to a strong service orientation, a real strength of the team, but this also creates some unsustainable workloads for the team. And then when it comes to resource use, one of the findings was that there's insufficient monitoring of whether programs are being used or whether or not those programs are effective. And as a result, resources often are not allocated based on evidence of impact. In the focus areas that Ed Services determined, data use varies significantly by site and teacher, and there's a need for training on data use. MTSS as a defined, structured system does not consistently exist across the district. And Tier 1 instruction, this is the one the principals selected as the area of focus. Site leaders desire more district support to build Tier 1 capacity, including for students with IEPs. And at the site level, special education is frequently still treated separately from general ed. Okay. And I should note before I move into the actions that in some cases, these findings were already conversations that the Ed Services team were having as a team. They were recognized challenges, and the team was already actively engaged in thinking and putting steps into place in order to address some of these issues. Okay, so some key actions. The Ed Services team did not wait till the end when we delivered a report to start to get to work. They were already working when we came in and have been working ever since. And that's been, one of the most powerful parts of this work, I think, with the team. So some of the key strategies that Ed Services has already begun to employ to address the priorities that I shared on the prior slides. The team is currently putting structures in place for classroom walkthroughs to monitor Tier 1 instruction, provide teachers with individualized feedback, and inform PD, and that's rolling out in this upcoming year. They've also started piloting or using a budget review tool that will help them assess the academic return on investment in how resources are used and when budget requests are made. They are defining what MTSS looks like for each tier and communicating this district-wide, and strengthening rigor for students with IEPs by training staff and on aligning IEP goals with essential standards. So Assistant Superintendent McLennan was showing me this incredible work that the team has done to identify a set of 5 instructional priorities, doing the definitional work to identify what the evidence is when they see it during walkthroughs, what the professional development associated with it is, etc. Okay, next steps. We are sharing the report with the team and working with the team to co-develop an implementation plan, some of which, as I mentioned, is already in action. And then we will be supporting the team on the implementation of the plan as you go back to school. And with that, some time for questions or anything you'd like to add.
Questions or comments from the board? Vice President Sellers?
Thank you. In regards to data use, can you provide a little more information as to what type of data we're looking at and analyzing?
So one of the things that we heard over and over was that there's not a lack of data in the district, but that there are a number of different data systems, and currently teachers, district leaders, parents, et cetera, don't know where to go for which data, and the data systems don't talk to each other. And because of the replacement of some data systems, there was a gap in a specific report that had been used in prior years. And so there was a need to just firm up to consolidate the data systems into a more aligned and comprehensive data system that was more usable for instructional, to inform academic progress in the state, in the district. Anything else you want to add with that?
And the board recently approved a contract for FCSS Data Hub, which would be the consolidated format of that. We're planning training for our administrators coming in September, and then training for our teachers following that, sessions for them.
When that's all finalized and all the data is the same across the board, ultimately, who's responsible for analyzing that data and then making data-driven decisions?
So that depends on who is in charge of the ROI for that particular program. So it may be a site if they're trying to justify through their Title I funds usage and they're buying it individually for their site. For our department, we've actually done the ROIs and identified the metrics for each of the new contracts and each of the new services we've been bringing. And so then we calendar back what we decided was our interim data and our final data as a department, and then whoever is the lead of that is in charge of bringing that data along with our REA department.
Okay. I guess that kind of answers my next question of actually who's responsible for ensuring that the data-driven decisions are being enforced, but, okay. That was it. Thank you.
Trustee Kirk?
Thank you. I'm trying to wrap my head around this area. This is an area that we need a lot of work in. So it sounds to me like this overlaps with our family and support services area. So are there discussions? I know this is focused on ed services, but is there discussion about integration and overlap between the two areas to make sure we're maximizing?
That is something that we are looking into. This is the first time I see the report, so I will definitely be setting up an appointment to meet.
We have some scheduled, I believe, double check me, but I think that there's some meetings right now, especially with the MTSS process, because Dr. Lopez has done a good job of outlining it. It's about the systemic implementation of it at the site. And so that's one of the things that she recently added to the training programs for this back to school as well, is the training again in the MTSS processes and procedures.
Thank you both, because those were my questions too. And I think that that's something that is really important for the board as a whole, is that we have our student educational services working closely with our student and family services department as well, so that we can better serve our students and better serve our sites as well. If they're saying that it sounds to me, and I am reducing this to its simplest form, so I apologize, that we're having lots of meetings and it's not really helping them to really implement, and they need more guidance. It also sounds like perhaps we need to shift as far as the responsibilities go and make sure that the site is taking more ownership as to the implementation aspect of the educational services being provided on their campuses. So I look forward to seeing the actual goals and having discussion as to how we also get more periodic updates, so that there is a sense of holding people accountable and they know that we are monitoring and you all are working together to improve our systems for our students. Any other questions? Okay, so what's the timeline? What's the timeline to having this return with more concrete? Is there a timeline to have this return to the board with a more concrete plan? So I see that the next steps is working with Ed Services to solidify plan. I think what I heard is that we would like to make sure that there is then discussion with our student and family services, and so that when this comes back to us, we know, and there's a clear identification of how those departments will work together and what we can expect to see moving forward at the site levels.
Yes, we can do that. It's probably going to be another couple of months to do the whole formalized piece with the plan and working with West Ed.
Okay. Do we think it'll be before December? Awesome, thank you. Okay, that was item number 3. We move on to item number 4, receive information regarding the Scholar First Inc. contract. Dr. Marshall.
Okay, I'm bringing this item back. If you recall, a few months ago, I brought the contract or information about the Scholar First as far as them working with us for a strategic plan. And one thing that I noted, upon my arrival, was that we didn't have a plan in place. And in fact, that's one of the metrics on my evaluation that the board wants to see one put in place. What's interesting is that, to Trustee Kirk's point about resources, it says one of the things in the agreement that, they'll put a framework together as far as helping us to, it's like people, programs, and processes and resources to better line and make those decisions. I mean, had we had that type of process in place when we had to make the decision last year about the reductions and such, there'd been more of a common understanding around that. That's what this kind of process helps. What I like about this process is that there are lots of listening and learning from the community. There are lots of, there's work with the board in terms of revisiting the mission statement, the foundations with the board and the superintendent. They give us, what does a Central Unified graduate look like, a profile of a graduate? Like most districts have that, progressive districts in the country. And then our middle schools and elementary schools, they will get an I can statement. Then there's a promise statement. The last outcome, some of the targets that they will give us, one of the things we talked about as far as branding or marketing the district, we get a promotional video as part of that process. So that's included. If you look at in terms of the planning teams, it consists of district administration, site administration, central office people, parents. They have student voice. It's a very collaborative. It's a lot of touches to our school community. That's the good thing about it. And then they give, finally, you can see how it breaks off in terms of what each session would encompass. Now, what she did, because I know it's been like a few months since we talked about this. I really wanted them to do this properly so that it goes over 2 years as opposed to 1 year, because I didn't want like a rush job. This is important stuff because at the end of the day, you get a plan that basically lives for about 5 or 6 years. That outlive all of us. That's what you want. And so that's why I wanted to bring back.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Okay. Is there any objection to having this contract return under consent?
Just for clarification, I'm trying to look back in my notes and make sure I'm thinking of the right presentation for this organization. Was this one we did over Zoom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I have no objection to this returning on consent.
Thank you. Okay. So this will return under consent to our August 11, 2026 board meeting. Next item is item number 5, receive information regarding California Association for Bilingual Education Memorandum of Understanding and Proposal. Assistant Superintendent McLennan.
This is an agreement with CABE, who's recognized nationally as a lead in dual immersion programs, to come and work with a committee that we would be forming to work on a timeline and implementation plan to effectively implement for long-term survival dual immersion programs in Punjabi and Spanish.
Any questions or comments from the board? Thank you very much. I know that some of us have been asking for this information for as long as we've been on the board. So we will have this return under consent unless I hear any objection to our August 11, 2026 board meeting. Item number 6, receive information regarding Project Stealth mentoring contract. Area Administrator Garrett.
Good evening, President Carrillo, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Marshall. Tonight I bring forth the contract for Project Stealth for mentorship services supporting students at Pershing Continuation High School and Pathway Community Day School for the 2026-2027 school year. This will be our 3rd year of partnership that will continue to provide targeted guidance, academic encouragement, and personal development support to help students reach their educational and career goals. Again, Project Stealth, which stands for Stop Teen Exploitation and Liberation Through Hope, is an outreach initiative designed to support struggling youth in Fresno. The program provides mentorship, counseling, and intervention services aimed at preventing harmful behaviors, but is unique in the support provided to the family unit through parent and family counseling and events. We would also be able to continue with our 2 current mentors, which is important because of the relationships that need to be built and the trust between the students and the mentors going into next year. Last year, the 2025-2026 Project Stealth cohort of students averaged 28 students per mentor, which was an increase of 61% year over year. We also had 11 out of 13 seniors who were participating in Project Stealth, which is 85%, graduated. And families and community members participated through dedicated restoration sessions, school-wide events such as a Fresno Grizzly game, an on-site fall festival, and many more, which was heavily attended by the whole families that participated in crafts and games. We also have seen students who participated in Stealth support transition back and supporting their transition back to their home school with a decreased number of incidents upon their return. This contract includes identical support services to its previous 2 years with no cost increase. Considering the increased cost of just items in general, plus now with Pathway being at a geographically different location, there is no additional cost or increased cost to the contract. Administration is recommending this item be placed on the August 11th agenda for action.
Trustee Kirk?
Thank you so much, Mr. Garrett. That was going to be my question about what is going to happen to the services as our schools divide, and how is that going to be accommodated, I guess, was my question.
Yeah, it'll continue, and the mentors will spend time on both campuses. They'll continue to have students on their caseload from each, which essentially they do now. It's just they would go from one side of the fence to the other between the two campuses. They'll just drive in between, correct.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, this will return under consent unless there is objection or is pulled.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 7, receive information regarding Proposition 28, Arts and Music in Schools, Funding Guarantee and Accountability Act. Director Escondón.
Good evening, President Carrillo, members of the board, Superintendent Marshall, and Cabinet. Tonight, I'm bringing forward the 2025-26 Proposition 28, Arts in Music in Schools Annual Report for information. During the 2025-26 fiscal year, Central Unified District received $3,089,474 in Proposition 28 funding through the California Department of Education. These funds allowed us to expand equitable access to high-quality visual and performing arts programs for students across the district. In accordance with Proposition 28 requirements, the majority of these funds supported direct student services through arts educators. Specifically, Proposition 28 funded 10 full-time certificated teachers and 6 classified employees who provided and supported visual and performing arts instruction throughout the district. Proposition 28 also supported the expansion of visual and performing arts programs through the adoption of new curriculum, professional development for VAPA teachers, the purchase of musical instruments, new pottery equipment, band uniforms, choir-leveled risers, instructional supplies and equipment, and transportation that increased student access to arts instruction, performances, and enrichment opportunities. These program expansions reflect the district's continued commitment to providing every Central Unified student with meaningful opportunities to learn, create, perform, and develop artistic expression through high-quality visual and performing arts education. The annual report before you summarizes how Proposition 28 funds were utilized during the 2025-26 fiscal year. Following governing board approval, the report will be submitted to the California Department of Education through the Arts and Music in Schools portal and posted on the district's website as required. Administration is requesting or recommending this item be placed on the August 11th, 2026 board agenda for action. I would be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Were we able to use the full $3 million?
No, we were not able to. We were still finishing off our first 2 allocations. This was our 3rd allocation.
How much time do we have, or is it a use it or return it?
We have 3 years to use those funds.
Okay.
The funds do roll over. They work very similar to Title III funds.
Okay. So how much money do we have left to spend? Do you know?
You know what? I can get you that information. I want to make sure you have the most accurate. So in the next board report, I can share that with you.
Okay. That'd be great. And then also a plan of how we are going to spend it. Because I think the difficulty is it's supposed to supplement, not supplant any existing, and we have a number of other existing constraints that have prevented us from being able to use the money. So a report on how much money we have left, what the plan is to use that money would be great.
Thank you.
The major difficulty with this grant was that 80% was supposed to be used on salaries, and we had already had a very extensive VAPA program and an expansion before that where the classes were not full at all, and so that's been the struggle.
Trustee Kurfan and then Vice President Sellers.
Under Prop 28, it's not required, but the art has to be like performing arts, right? It can be like art you create with your hands, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Visual
it
and
can be a
performing.
variety of different types of visual arts, performing arts, theater arts. What gets challenging is it's just like President Carrillo mentioned, it isn't to supplant, it's to supplement and expand existing programs. And we have all done an amazing job here in Central Unified. We have quite robust programs, so it gets challenging to spend it within the restrictions.
Right, because I recall at the end of last school year, some of the Central East students came by showing off some of the art they created with their computer science classroom. I was wondering if maybe that's a kind of program we could expand with creating, 3D art.
So you can if it's an art credentialed teacher aligned with the California art standards, but not if it's a technology class with a CTE credentialed teacher. The exception to that is like a video production class that also meets the visual and performing arts standards, but it wouldn't be a computer class.
I see.
So it's kind of like that fine line when you're going through it, because it has to be able to meet the arts, music, and drama and dance standards.
Okay, thank you.
Vice President Sellers, then Trustee Kirk.
Two questions. The first one's kind of extending on that. Is there anywhere we can go to get criteria of what's considered an art? 'Cause I was thinking like welding and some of the other programs that we might not have at certain campuses if there's opportunities to grow. Just what's actually eligible.
I think Proposition 28 defines it.
Yes, but the easiest way to look would be on like our UCOP doorways, and you can look at our high school courses for those that are meet visual and performing arts and fine arts, because they meet the state standards for visual and performing arts. So there are some diverse courses on there, but they really have to be aligned strongly with the VAPA standards as opposed to another content area standards predominantly.
Okay. The other part of the question was none of the monies can be utilized for facilities, correct?
They can be utilized for improvements, but not new. So reasonable improvements.
Improving a VAPA building that doesn't exist.
Nice
yet.
try. Nice try. Yeah. But I got where you were going right there. If they could, I would have poured them in there.
Trustee Kirk.
Thank you. I should probably tell you, this is probably my favorite area. So at the report that we have, it says we're serving 25 sites. Is there any type of breakdown about what's being offered in elementary school, what's being offered in junior high school, and what's being offered in high school?
Yes, I can definitely provide you with a report, and I'll make sure to include it in the Friday report. But yes, I can provide you with a breakdown of all the different services, unless you'd like a full presentation. I can do
I'd love
as
a full presentation with pictures of kids with art.
Yeah,
absolutely. I love
videos.
that stuff.
Yes.
To see some of the things that we purchased.
Okay.
But I guess my question is, in looking at that, is there room then in this funding to expand what we're doing in elementary and junior high school and our feeder programs to make sure that we're not losing some of these VAPA programs we have? I know like strings is supposed to be coming through a certain feeder program. So are these areas we can infuse more opportunities for our younger ones, that it's going to continue to feed them into the high schools?
That's the plan. That's the plan. That's the plan. I'm going to seriously, I've been on my listening and learning tour, and this is that year where I'm going to continue to dive in deep and look at what current systems we have in place, because we have to be careful we don't use those funds to supplant. So absolutely, that's the plan.
I do. So if I can throw a plug in right quick. So I know that at Madison, in their after-school program, as part of their supplemental program, they had an outstanding drama opportunities for the kids. It was an after-school, but it was so incredible the things they got to do, the plays these little kids put on, little kids singing. musicals is the best. And then the opportunities to travel to Disneyland and do other things. I know kids who moved in from Madison, continued on in junior high, and continued on in high school and did like the spring plays and things. So that's the kind of opportunities I'd like to see for our younger kids, because then they want to come to school every day when they're in high school because they loved it when they did it in elementary school. So that's the kind of stuff I'd like to see. I want to spend up every dime of this money.
We share the same sentiment.
Trustee Kirk, right now, I can tell you, generally speaking, we offer art and music at the elementary levels. I don't know that we offer extensive drama yet.
Yet.
Trustee Nandip Singh?
I think maybe this is more for assistant superintendents and for Dr. Marshall. I think exactly, Trustee Kirk, building these bridges and feeder programs is exactly why probably like 6-7 years ago why we made the investments to make sure we start having area administrators. I think this is still a missing link for us to make sure that our feeder elementary schools, and this is why it's so important for us to have absolutely defined and separated feeder elementaries, feeder middle schools to our feeder high schools, so that we can sort of build out these triangle sort of programs much more robustly. Parents know the options if something is a desire of theirs, which one to go to. So I think this is a place where I hope our area administrators can also really make sure to hear and amplify the voices they're hearing on campuses, and why it's so incumbent for the board to be working with that administration to make sure that we finalize our feeder schools so that we have true feeders and not our current system.
Trustee Gerfon?
Thank you. Just another quick question. And we still have, art and theater programs at Pershing and Pathway, right?
We are working to continue to provide art to all of our students. Some programs a lot more robust than others, but that's the work ahead.
Right. Well, I know Pathway is moving to the new site, and long after it was used as the old Pershing site, we did use it as a art center for Central High students. So that site should be renovated for the use of, performing arts, if need be.
I appreciate the input and the ideas.
Any other comments? Okay, so we are going to have this return. We will work with you to determine a timeline for a presentation to get more information and see some of our beautiful kids doing their arts and music related stuff. Okay, this will return under consent at the August 11, 2026 board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then item number 8, receive information regarding Moyman Consulting? Moomin?
Yes, good evening. So Laura Moymian Consultant is what we've used last year to start the restorative PBIS process. It was a trainer of trainers, which means we started with site leadership, intervention counselors, teachers that were willing to take the leap and start the restorative PBIS work at their sites. This year, now we're asking our leaders, what is it that you need to continue this work now with teachers, because we need to move into the direction of we trained you to be trainer of trainers, so you can now train our teachers. And one of the supports that they had asked for was, as leaders, they engaged in modules online that they really enjoyed. They wanted those modules to be catered more to teachers, so they can then use the modules to teach teachers about the restorative PBIS, especially because this is so new in our district. So that is what you see in front of you. This contract will allow for all our leaders to have access to modules that then they would provide to their teachers as they're leading the restorative circles and teaching them what it looks like in the classrooms. So administration is recommending that this item be placed in the May 12th board agenda for action. That date does not sound right. August 12th, board agenda for action. The total cost is $62,100 to be paid out of the LCSSP grant. This grant needs to be expended by December this year. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Can you explain the contract. So I see that there's one fee for a little under 10,000 for the on-site training, and it says 2. So are these going to be provided like massive trainings all at once, or like
So-
help me understand what we're receiving?
Yes.
Because I think the second contract is for the modules.
Yes, so what you're seeing is the remainder of leaders that haven't been trained are receiving training through her.
Got it, okay.
Our TOSAs that we have as part of the department, the director and myself, have been recently trained, so we'll be able to carry on those trainings after this last week that she does it.
Okay.
So that she's including the cost for that, and then separately the cost for the modules.
So when it says 21, what is the quantity is 21? How does that relate to the fact that it's giving 5 logins and provides a license for a year?
Those are the additional leaders that did not get a login last year. So every leader last year received a login with access to modules, but this year we had new leaders that got hired, so then they're also receiving those access points.
Got it. So the quantity is the access essentially, and then each person can then authorize 5 additional people. Okay,
Yeah.
Now I understand. Thank you very much. Any other questions, Vice President Sellers?
Do we have any kind of metrics or anything in place to evaluate, make sure that it's actually the training is being implemented?
Yes, so we are tracking, and we literally sent emails with percentage of completion to our leaders, and that's what we were able to do last year with the leaders that were taking the modules. And we ended up meeting 2 days in June to ensure that it was almost like a PLC, a group of us that got together with leaders to receive their feedback and ensure that everyone completed the module, so we would be ready to begin this year with training now our teachers.
So once I've completed the module, is there, you said it has to go to the teacher's level, then and after that we'll be able to evaluate whether or not it's actually being implemented?
Yes, so the PBIS, the reason why we went with this model is because it's restorative PBIS. So the training that I provide, the presentation I provided last year to the board explains that our new TFI, which is the rubric that we use to measure PBIS, has changed. So it added now the restorative component with cultural proficiency, and we need to be able to check off evidence of that work for them to receive the gold medal standing, platinum standing. So in the process of visiting classrooms to ensure all of these things are happening, one of them is circles and restorative practices. So we have to check off and ensure that there's evidence so we can submit it for the gold and platinum medals to receive any of those awards.
So I think ultimately the effectiveness of the training and implementation is measured by, and correct me if I'm wrong, the rubric, but also then the number of suspensions and expulsions, and because essentially it's supposed to reduce that type of behavior in the classroom
and create a positive school
I think
climate.
what I was
So
going
panorama.
with was based on the previous presentation that certain things are not being implemented across the board at all school sites, where some school sites we do it this way, other school sites, thank you for the presentation, but I'm going to keep doing it the way I've always done it. Do we have any metrics in place that are going to be, this is the new AR or BP that says the old way is great, we're not doing that anymore, we're going to do it this way?
That will be the rubric. So it literally specifies exactly what should be happening down to matrices. So in the process of evaluating these PBIS practices that are good practices, they're supposed to help us address these climate and culture concerns that we have. Kids are supposed to feel more connected to the school. So the panoramic data is going to support the ROI, the return on investment, will be measured by panoramic data, drop in suspensions, positive school climate as reported by parents and staff. So those are the metrics that we're using.
Okay. Thank you.
So perhaps at the end of the year, or maybe next spring, we get a presentation reviewing again, because I know you've done that, and it's a fantastic presentation. But I think just to be able to see how it all connects and how we can measure the effectiveness and
We can do
whether
that.
it's being implemented.
It's actually going to be, so the data from last year with the baseline is going to be presented in our MTSS workshop that we have scheduled So then at the end of of next year, then you'll receive the same MTSS presentation, but now with the new data.
Okay. Did you have any other questions, Vice President Sellers? Anyone else? Okay. This needs to return next board meeting, August 11, 2026. It'll return under consent unless I hear objections. Item number 9, receive information regarding expanded learning program vendor quote. Dr. Lopez.
This is coming back to you. So this was approved, this specific vendor was approved for our July camps. The way it was approved is because we don't know how many kids will enroll in these camps. So what we did is for every 25 kids, the cost was $24,000. It's a racket club. So we ended up doing a total of 3 groups of 25. So it ended up coming out to about $75,000. However, we do have winter coming, we have spring coming. So in order to try to save time, we instead of bringing it back under consent for the July, I decided to bring it under info. So like that, we can also put together the cost for the next 2 programs that will be using them. They have a sole source letter. They're the only one that provides this camp for racket at the racket club. And it's the highest on-demand one. So we want to book them in advance so they don't go with other districts.
Thank you. And so the total cost of the program is for all 3 camps. So the additional demands for the summer camp plus the winter and the spring.
That is correct.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? This will return under consent on August 11, 2026. Number 10, receive information regarding board certified behavior analyst job description. Dr. Lopez.
Our MTSS department has reviewed department work to improve services and support for schools and families to improve our SST processes, as well as our multi-tiered system of support processes. In order for us to meet the high demand under the Tier 2, Tier 3 area under behaviors, we are evaluating the potential need of the board certified behavior analyst, BCBA. The job description is attached for your review. Please note that we are going to the highest of certifications with a master's degree experience in the field, as well as a BCBA supervision, which is one of the highest, which means they're going to be able to train paraprofessionals around behavior needs. That is a gap that we see in our system right now. We assigned a para to the child, but where's the training to be able to support with those needs? They would also be able to provide supervision hours, which usually agencies charge for because it's hard to get somebody with the BCBA certification. The total cost is at $200,000 with stats and benefits to be paid out of general fund. Administration is recommending this is brought back for action in our next board agenda. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do you think we're going to be able to find someone?
Based on, so in order for me to create this job description, I reached out to other districts. I reached out to Central Valley Community Center. I reached out to quite a few agencies. And because of a lot of the budget cuts, many of these positions are being cut. So I have a good feeling about getting a good pool so we can hire the best person for the job.
And so then how does this relate, if at all, with the contract? And so maybe support from Assistant Superintendent McLennan, but how does this relate to the contract for the services that we approved under consent?
So this specific position will be supporting the over-identification of students into special education. What we notice is, and that's the reason why I came to this department, we notice that when SSTs are taking place, many times they're placed into the lowest setting, which is RSP, because of behavior concerns, and they're being pulled out of the classroom for those reasons. So the idea is that when we're in that process of providing services and supports and holding an SST meeting for behaviors, then we really provide the service of a BCBA to analyze why is the kid behaving this way? What kind of supports can we provide in advance to stop the escalation between RSP, mild mod severe for behaviors? So it should impact the special education department because we're going to hopefully hire somebody with a specialized credentials to know behaviors and to treat behaviors.
In regards to her program, I know it's supposed to address the highest of the need. I mean, we're talking about students receiving FAPE already, and they have IEPs. So it's a little different because now you're talking about extreme behaviors. Of course, a BCBA is needed. I would definitely want this individual to go and observe and learn from the group that they have currently there. But what I see happening is this becoming a good model for a district to understand how can we use BCBAs for extreme behaviors. And we don't have that right now. We don't have a job description. We don't have anyone that does that kind of work.
The other contract was actually also part of a package, so in order to have those registered behavioral aides, they have to be supervised by that company's BCBA. So we would have to, in order to replace them, first go through the long term of making sure that that program is effective, because it's our first year pulling out that program and bringing those students back. But then we would also need to hire behavior techs in addition to the work with the BCBA.
Got it. Any other questions from the board? Any objection to having this? Yes, Trustee
My
Clark.
apologies. I'm just looking, I'm trying to wrap my head around what this stands for. We have programs doing this in Fresno. Are there folks trained in this? I'm looking to see where the programs are offered. I see Fresno Pacific has one. It looks like maybe Fresno State has a master's program in this. So are those programs that are robust enough that we would have a good base to pull from for folks who have the experience in this?
Yes. So some of the agencies that I contacted for feedback on the job description basically mentioned that many of them are being released from jobs because of lack of funding to those agencies. So there should be a good pool this year because of that.
Any objection to having this return under consent? Okay, this will return under consent. That was item number 10. Item number 11, receive information regarding education and longevity credit modifications for unrepresented employees, management, supervisory, and confidential. Dr. Calcedillas.
There is currently language in the CSEA contract that allows employees who work more than 7 hours a day but less than 12 months in a year to receive the full education and longevity stipends. However, the management, supervisory, and confidential employees who work less than 12 months a year receive a prorated education stipend. Administration is recommending that modifications be made for the unrepresented employees, including management, supervisory, and confidential staff, to receive equal education stipends and longevity credit amounts as the same as classified and certificated employees currently receive. We'd like to bring this back to you for consideration on the August 11th agenda.
What is the total financial impact?
It's a great question, and I knew you were going to ask me that, and it was not on the information that I was provided. So if you look on the actual proposal, it is taking the associate's degree, almost doubling it, as well as the bachelor's amount. So I'll have to bring you back the fiscal impact on that. This is being examined and looked at in terms of equity across the board for all of our classifications.
I mean, I'm not going to oppose equity. Let's have this return under action. Can we get that information included, please, so that it doesn't get buried in a Friday report?
Okay.
And then I think also, well, the impact for both.
Okay.
The financial impact.
I will have that information. Thank you.
I have some additional questions, but I'll follow up with you guys on those. Okay, this will be action. Any other questions from anyone on this? Okay. Item number 12, receive information regarding resolution number 2527-02, authorizing transfer of funds for grandfathered retiree health benefits.
Yeah. All right. Good evening.
Sorry, Assistant Superintendent Iqbal.
That's right. Good evening. This is a resolution where funds has to be allocated towards retiree who are eligible for lifetime health benefits. Lifetime health benefits were offered twice by the district, once in 2005, and 54 people were enrolled, and then in 2011, 20 people were enrolled. So this is administration is recommending this item be placed on the August 11, 2026 board agenda for action.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Vice President Sellers?
In any of the contractual agreements with the employees, do we have any groups that are still eligible for medical benefits after retirement?
No. Sorry, yeah. These are the only ones.
So there's nothing, MSC and anybody else that has anything?
No. These 74 are the only one that's eligible for lifetime.
Okay. So in every employee now, and including the ones that just took the early retirement, there is no provisions that provide them, the district paid for health benefits after retirement?
Well, for these ones, the ones that's retiring, we have to pay the health benefits until they become 65.
Okay.
The ones we did the PARS.
So we do have some employees that are eligible.
This is just those 74 employees that are lifetime.
So I think there's a distinction between
lifetime and then when Medicare, Medicaid.
Right, that's 65. Correct. As soon as the age hits 65, then automatically they go into Medicare.
Okay. Thank you.
We don't have a lot of discretion on this item and these types of items. So any objection to having this returned to consent?
It has to be
action?
Resolution.
Okay.
It has to be action.
It'll return under action. And then our final information item, item 13, receive information regarding resolution number 2627, delegating authority to CRMA to reject government tort claims. Assistant Superintendent Iqbal.
So this is due to the time-sensitive nature of some issues. CRMA, who oversees our district liability, is asking to manage our tort claim process. So administration is recommending this item be placed on August 11, board agenda for action.
This is the first time we're getting a resolution like this, right?
I think what happened is pretty much all the school district in the CRMA, we kind of complain that you give us on the 11th hour, or sometimes deadlines is so close by that we are running, or we bring it to the board. So that's why they wanted to do this resolution where they can reject all the claims.
But then the board loses its authority to reject and hear all claims.
We can always give you a status update.
This will return under action. I don't know how I feel about this. I'll just tell you all right now, because I looked at this very quickly and I remember I don't like turning over authority as a board, let alone to a third-party agency that we lose all authority and supervision and decision-making. Just as a general policy, I don't like things like that, just FYI. I will review more thoroughly and send any questions I may have, but I don't like this. Go ahead.
To the best of your knowledge, we have not denied a claim, correct?
Well, if we accept the claim, then CRMA won't be able to process it. We have to deny it for them to accept it.
So essentially, we're paying into an insurance fund that by not denying it, we're not going to utilize that insurance.
Right. So if you don't deny it, then they won't be able to accept it because we have to deny all the claims.
Correct. So there are torts are governed by the government code, and it literally specifies that the governing body is responsible for rejecting or accepting the claims. I can't imagine, and as long as I'm on the board, I would not recommend ever accepting a claim unless it's like $5 and it's going to cost us more money to send it to CRMA. But it's the turning over and delegating that power to this third-party agency, which for the 7 years that I've been on the board, and I know we've had a change in administration, and I sound like a broken record, but we never get a report until recently as to what claims get resolved. And so we don't have any say. So people get paid and claims get resolved, and we never know anything about them, which to me is just frustrating because it ultimately impacts the overall bodies that are part of the same liability pool. So it concerns me that as people retire and find other places, that we are then also turning over the little power and oversight that we have overseeing these claims, even if in effect we never actually accept them, we deny them as a practice.
So can we put it like a provision? And this is an idea.
We could, if they accept it.
That before it gets rejected, you get to see it. I mean, in an email or in the form that, yes, it's going to get rejected next week, but you get a heads up a week before it gets rejected. Something
I mean,
like that.
I would even be fine if there's support from the board, so long, maybe something along the lines of like within 5 or 10 days of a claim being rejected, and only giving them approval for rejection. I'll have to go back and read this
It says,
thoroughly. That's what I remember. That the board gets notified at the next scheduled board meeting. Because again, I get so many emails. I know I don't see everything that I get. It's too many emails. So I don't want, and maybe everyone else doesn't get as many emails. I don't know. But I just think that we want to affirmatively know what is happening with the claims. Vice President Sellers.
Is there any kind of a sunset to this resolution?
It says that this change didn't improve, and it said reduce, okay, it's a delegation, is limited and spoken, may be revoked by the district anytime. That's what it says, so we can revoke it anytime. And this is going to 2 big school district 2, to Madera and Sangert. They're part of this JPA. So.
Am I the only one that's concerned? Okay. So how do we feel about having a provision that says within 10 days and no later than the next scheduled board meeting, administration must report to the board, so at least we know what's happening? Trustee Kerfan.
I would clarify that it should be in a board meeting, because if we just leave language as is, the board will be notified. Future administrations could notify future board members in an email, in a text, even verbally. So I think having that language at a board meeting would be pertinent.
Right, which is why I would say at the next regular board meeting of the board.
You don't want this in closed session when we update the tort claim?
No, it would be in closed session.
Okay,
Yeah, but I just want it to be a formal meeting. Again, no offense to the Friday reports, but you send me 100 pages. I am not going to read all of them. It's just I don't have the time to do it. Okay, I will send some proposed language, and we'll have this return under action.
All right, thank you.
And then just remember, if the board approves this, that we approved it for the boards to come. I sure hope so. Trustee Kerfan.
I'll just say that I appreciate that the Friday reports have become a lot shorter. I think now they're down to like about 2 pages.
You're welcome. Okay, that was our final information item. Advanced planning, the calendar should be posted. We do have a special meeting on August 18th to address some of the items that we've been asking about and have been lingering. So make sure you mark your calendars. It's been reserved, and so we will be having a special meeting on August 18th. Does it say for the special meeting? Yeah. Yes, that is true. It'll be a 2-hour meeting. Everyone will be present. Our next, any additional informations or closing comments? Any additional requests for information from the board? Trustee Kirk.
Just for clarification, when will we have new student trustees?
When will we? Beginning August. So we are scheduling the plan. Ms. Lopez, would you like to tell us what the plan is?
Since this is still new for us, I discussed with Dr. Marshall about having all 4 student trustees come in and get do their oath, swear their oath, and then we would only sit 2 at the same rotation as we did last year. But this would also give an opportunity for all 4 student trustees to participate basically in all events that they wish to. And then we will also be setting a meeting to give them kind of an orientation on basically being a new student trustee. You're welcome.
And so they should be seated next August. Yeah. After they start After they start school, so whatever the next
So-
board meeting is.
So they would start the last board meeting in August.
In August, okay. Okay, our next board meeting is Tuesday, August 11th, starting at 5:30 p.m. And then we don't need to adjourn to go back into closed session. What are the wishes of the board on adjournment? Thank
Second.
you. I have a motion by trustee Kirk. I have a second by trustee Sadoo. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. We adjourn at 8:59 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Yes, yes, you may.